Hello besties, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another video where I talk about my most anticipated releases of the upcoming month. And today, of course, we're going to talk about November releases. And the first book that I'm going to talk about is from Adrienne Young. She's a well-loved author. Now, I confess I've never read anything by her. And I feel like it's almost a crime. So I'm definitely excited for this one. It's called Fallen City, by the way. I've seen people compare it to a mix of Greek and Roman mythology, and it has a lot of political intrigue. We are in a city called the city of Isara. We have political turmoil that ignites a rebellion. But when a legionnaire falls in love with a magistrate's daughter, their love will threaten the fate of the city and the will of the gods. And what convinced me even more to pick up this book is this review that says, "This novel really took me on a dark emotional journey. I was not expecting this book to be so powerful. It's truly a masterpiece. This book comes with romance, fantasy, rebellion, a forbidden love, war, political intrigue, and so much more." This is going to release on November 4th, I believe. Yes, November 4th. And there are a lot of book boxes that are doing special editions of this book. owlcrate already announced theirs. And it also has a first print run special edition. The next book that I'm going to talk about is one of my most anticipated releases of the year. It is Empire of the Dawn, and look at that cover. Oh my god, by 𝐁𝐶hristoph. When I tell you I am so excited for this book, I am very excited for this book. Of course, I am not going to talk about this book because this is the third book and the finale to the Empire of the Vampire series trilogy by 𝐁𝐶hristoph. But you already see me. If you've watched my previous videos, you already know my love for this series. It's a masterpiece. I love it so much, and I think I need to read book 2 at least before picking up this one, because a lot of things happen in that book, a lot of history and lore, and I don't remember every single detail, of course, but I remember giving it 6 stars. So I'm very much anticipating my reread and also picking this one up. And yes, if you want a top, how to describe it, a masterpiece of our world after an apocalypse or post-apocalyptic world where vampires rule, and like the world has fallen to darkness and to monsters, and Gabriel de Leon, he's like this vampire slayer warrior, and top tier banter and relationships and found family and everything good. Absolutely mind-blowing with action and plot twists, and oh my god. Pick this series up, you will not regret it. This is going to release also on November 4th, very soon. Okay, the next one is a YA fantasy historical fiction. The cover is what drew me to this book, to be honest. The cover is absolutely beautiful, but also here it says, "Revenge meets the Gilded Age," in this thrilling YA fantasy set among the glittering magical elite of late 1800s New York City society. And here it says, "Two girls attended a magical ball, but one was never seen again." And we are following our FMC, who was framed by her best friend, I think, for something that she did not commit. And she found herself imprisoned until her cell wall explodes, revealing our FMC, his name is Jack Fontaine, one of the society's favorite sons. He's also imprisoned for a crime he swears he did not commit, and they make a deal. He will help Emmy escape if she helps him destroy those who've wronged them. Here it says we have a quest for payback, an elite world of magic, and an absolutely delicious romance. And also another comment says, "Imagine a book that takes the found family and heist of Six of Crows, a love story like Heartless," I didn't read Heartless, "and a magic system entirely its own to create a wonderful tale that examines betrayal, systems of power, and transformation. I cannot wait to read this book. This is going to release on November 4th too. Oh my god. How many books are releasing on that date? Okay, the next book is not releasing on November 4th. This is also another completely different genre. This is a thriller, horror, mystery, but people who read this book said that it reads like a dark fairy tale. In this book, the name of the book first, The Forest of Missing Girls. And in this book, we are following Leah, who hoped she outgrew her fear of the woods surrounding her childhood home. They have legends and lures and, like, you can say urban legends about girls disappearing into these woods. But after she breaks up with her boyfriend, I think she goes back to her hometown. And while she's there, a teenage girl disappears from their backyard. And Leah's childhood fear becomes terrifyingly real. Yes, this is what I told you before. Here it says, I expected this to be more of a straightforward thriller. And I was pleasantly surprised when it turned out to be much more of a dark fairy tale with a sci-fi element. I didn't read the whole review because I didn't want to get even hints about what's going on. So that's the only thing that I read from that review. Also here it says, The Forest of Missing Girls has everything you could want in a dark and disturbing horror novel. Creepy forest, girls disappearing, family secrets, and a sister determined to keep her sister safe. And overall, like, it has very good rating on Goodreads. This is going to release on November 11th. The next book that I'm going to talk about is by a very well-known author, Chloe Gong, and look at that badass cover. Cold Wire is the name of the book, and this is also going to release November 4th, by the way. This is a young adult dystopia, cyberpunk, and I'm so excited for this book. Now, what I read recently by her, I'm looking at them up there, Immortal Longings. I need her to finish that trilogy because I loved the first book. I didn't read the second book because I was waiting for the release date of the third book. And I thought that it's going to be this year, but no. We got this YA from her. I think it's going to be a duology. This one. So I'm waiting for the release date, and I think it's going to release in spring 2026. To binge read that series. Reread the first book and binge read it because I really, really enjoyed Immortal Longings. And this one says, the start of a daring new dystopian series. Well, maybe it's not a duology then. Where humanity has moved to virtual reality to flee their deteriorating world, following two young soldiers who must depend on unlikely allies in their fight for survival. And here it says, Chloe Gong, you mastermind. I'm genuinely in love with this book. The way it was written was mass perfection. The characters, funny, intriguing, and captivating. The plot was absolutely shocking. The twists I did not expect at all. I was shocked and smiling because I have never felt like that in a long time. I am so excited about this. I really loved her writing in Immortal Longings, and it felt like a breath of fresh air, to be honest. It was very fresh and unique, and I loved the world building and the games and everything, so I'm very excited about this release. As I said, November 4th. Now, the next book is another horror. This is called Best Offer Wins, and this is a debut novel, and I cannot believe that this has 4.14 star rating on Goodreads. Everyone's mind was blown by this book, and I cannot wait to read it. I added it immediately to my TBR jar, but I hope I don't get it now because it's going to release. Now I noticed the release date. It's not in the beginning of November. It's towards the end, November 25th. Now, this book is about a person a woman who really wants to buy a new house, her and her husband, and they want to move from their tiny apartment, basically. So they are on the hunt looking for a new big house, and they didn't have any luck. Like, they made an offer for multiple houses, but they never got picked. So when she found a house that she really loved and she really wanted to get that particular house. She started stalking the homeowners, which is something I do not recommend. Here it says in the synopsis, a little stalking, harmless, a bit of trespassing, necessary. As Margot infiltrates the homeowners' lives, her tactics grow increasingly unhinged. But just when she thinks she's won them over, she hits a snag in her plan. Undeterred, she'll prove again and again that there is no boundary she won't cross to seize the dream life she's been chasing. And this comment here says, this is one unhinged ride reminiscent of the Gone Girl vibe. The pacing is excellent and I couldn't put the book down. I inhaled it in a day and the ending was so good. I cannot wait to read this one. It also says this is yet another debut novel and I'm so impressed. I think this book will be big this fall. Fans of gripping domestic suspense with an unhinged, obsessive female main character, don't miss this one. I can't wait to read it. As I said, it is going to release on November 25th. The next book, now this is one of my most anticipated reads. Not particularly this book, the first book in the series. The series is called Legacy by Melissa K. Roehrich, and the fourth book, and I think it is the final book in the series, Dawn of Chaos and Fury. I cannot wait to read this series. Since I finished reading Lady of Darkness by her, I fell in love. And these books are set in the same world. She has an interconnected world. And yes, I fell in love with her writing, the world, the characters. Lady of Darkness series is one of the top fantasy series that I read this year. It is so good. And I cannot wait to dive into the series too. And people who read the series, they said that this is even better than Lady of Darkness. So yes, I'm very excited about this one. This is going to release on November 25th. And the next book that I want to read is by a duo author that I wanted to read from them for a long time. But their series, or the series that I'm interested in, is very long. Very long. Zodiac Academy, is it 10 books? Or like 11 or more? If you include all the novellas and like the other series that are connected to the series, then it is like maybe 16 or 17 books. I want to read them. That's kinda, to be honest, when I look at the stack of books, like a lot of people have their pictures on Instagram with the stack of books, I'm like, that's intimidating. That's a mountain and the books are thick. And I mean, to be honest, a lot of people said that some of the books are unnecessarily long and that's what's keeping me from reading them. And some of the books are not as good as other books and some feel like fillers. So I don't know, but I feel like it's a must at this point. But this is a must because this is a new world, not connected to the Zodiac Academy world. It is called Hollow by Caroline Peckham and Susan Valenti. And it's going to be the first book in a series called Crown of Hearts and Chaos. It's an adult, dark fantasy. We have fae, we have dragons, and the cover is absolutely stunning. And here it says, at the beginning of the synopsis, don't listen to the whispers of the woods. Don't trust the man cloaked in shadow. Don't earn the wrath of the scattered spirits. Don't go out after dark. And at the end of the synopsis, it says, it's a heady cocktail of summoners, seduction, and spirits set to get your heart racing and feet kicking. There will be a ruinous, black-hearted love interest, a rebellious, ruthless FMC, plot twists, cliffhangers, dark humor, and a healthy seasoning of make you blush spice. It's not for the faint of heart. All those who enter the forest are bound by its terms. Will you walk willingly into the dark? I love that. This is going to release on November 18th. Definitely going to pick this one up. The next book is also by an author that I really want to read something from. She usually writes dark romances. You've 100% heard of one of her books before. 𝐾𝐵 This is called Your Knife, My Heart. This is a military dark romance filled with action and suspense from start to finish, they say here. Our main characters, Emery and Cameron, are forced to survive a set of brutal trials together to get a place into an underground military operation. As I said, I really want to read something by this author, and I think this is going to be the perfect book because it's the first one in a series. The series is called Dark Forces. And yes, here it says a compelling, addictive dark romance in her Dark Forces world. This is going to release on November 11th. And I also believe there is a first print run edition of this book. I'll try to link the first print run editions in the description down below. The next book, I've never heard about this author nor her books before anywhere. This is going to be the second book in the series. It's going to release, it is called Arcanist by Mistry or Mistry. It is going to release on November 25th. This is, as I said, the second book in the series. The series is called the Arcanist. So I'm not going to talk about this one. I'm going to talk about the first book in the series because it has a very high rating on Goodreads and I've never heard about it. It is a reverse harem fantasy book that talks about a librarian, FMC, who's a ghost. Our FMC is a ghost librarian. And I was like, what? Reverse harem set in a library with a ghost FMC, white shoes? Sign me up. And also she has 4.61 star rating on Goodreads. So I was like, how? I've never heard anyone talk about this book before. So I am going to read it. Here it says, my necromancy practicing murderers never expecting me to rise again. And hear this one. I read this book in one sitting. I could not put it down. I was up until 5 a.m. Oh my God. I hope you didn't have work the next day. It literally drew me in from chapter 1 and then didn't let go until the last page. I was walking to and from the bathroom and to and from the fridge with my Kindle held up to my nose. Oh my God, it was obnoxious how much I love this book. So yes, I really, really want to read it. Another here says, I was so immersed in this book that I sat down to read and didn't get up until I finished it. I ate it up. And the cliffhanger at the end, oh my God. Another comment here says, highly recommend this book for readers who love a slow burn reverse harem, badass FMC, and a compelling storyline. We have grumpy ghostly librarian, we have a meddling magical library, one golden retriever, and steamy slow burn tension. I am definitely going to read this book and the second book, Arcanist. This is going to release on November 25th. The next book that I'm going to talk about, it's a phenomenon, not a book. It is Brimstone by Kali Hart. I mean, everyone is waiting. Everyone on earth is waiting for this book. I cannot wait to reread 𝐿'Quicksilver and also read the audiobook or hear the audiobook, the special POV. I think there is a short audiobook with Kingfisher's POV. I'm definitely going to listen to that one too. And I cannot wait to pick up this book right after that. This is going to release on November 18th. The next book, oh, okay. This one is not a new release. It is a release in a very, very stunning special edition. So for those of you who are maybe interested or they are looking for a special edition of The Book of Azrael by Amber V. Nicole, this absolutely stunning edition, and it has gorgeous character art on the end papers of Diana and Samkiel, each one on a different end paper. This is going to release on November 25th. So don't miss out on this book if you are interested in finding a special edition of the Book of Azrael. This is one of the most beautiful editions that I have seen of this book too. And it also has foiling on the hardcover, and look at that edge. November 25th. Okay, the next book also has a very stunning first print run edition with beautiful, beautiful edges. And I mean that cover. Blackthorn by 𝐁𝐨𝐥𝐴. The cover is absolutely beautiful too. And here it says, a scorching new enemies to lovers romance filled with explosive secrets, nail-biting gothic suspense, and the dangerous lure of dark magic. You never forget your first love, especially when he's also your worst nightmare. Here it says we are following Maven Blackthorn, where she 12 years ago fled her small hometown, leaving behind the suspicious death of her mother. But now she was drawn back for her grandmother's funeral, so she came back again to her childhood home, only to find herself thrust into a fresh nightmare. Her grandmother's body has vanished. And immediately her family, the Blackthorns, they suspect the Crofts, another powerful family, and they have an old feud with them. And this reminds me of the Glittering Edge, like the old feud between these two powerful families. And then she has to come together with Ronan. He's the son of her mother's suspected killer. And I think they work together somehow to find out what is going on. And of course, we're going to have the enemies to lovers there. We have revenge, we have Thatcher and Die, shadier than Shade Hero, forbidden romance, grumpy sunshine, plot twists galore, Beauty and the Beast, and enemies to lovers, to enemies, to ... interrogation point. So we don't know what's going to happen. This is an adult, of course, dark gothic romance, and it has a lot of glowing reviews. This one says, this was one of those books for me where I was not expecting to have this much great time. The banter and the tension between the FMC and one of the MMCs, okay, we have more than one, is absolutely intoxicating. Yes, this is going to release on November 4th. The next book is called 7 Deadly Thorns. This is a YA fantasy romance, dark academia fantasy romance. What drew me to this book is this. The cruel prince meets powerless in this dark academia romantasy that will tattoo itself onto your heart. And here it says, in the cursed kingdom of Aragua, the punishment for magic is death. This reminds me of Powerless. And it also says we have an academy. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name of the academy. When Viola Sinclair's deadly shadow magic is discovered, the queen gives her assassin a new assignment and a new curse tattoo. 7 thorned roses on his arm for the 7 days he has to hunt Viola down and kill her. If he doesn't, he will be the one to die. A lot of the comments said that the pair gave them Jude and Carden vibes and that they enjoyed them so much, and the setting was interesting. We have strong female friendships, smart main characters, forbidden romance, and he's also trying to kill her, of course. And we have a gargoyle pet. His name is Waffles. Oh my god. I'm going to read this book just for the pet because a lot of people said that the gargoyle pet was the main character of the book. This is going to release on November 4th. The next book is another vibe. It's a new dark mafia romance series by L.J. Shen. It is called Bad Bishop. There is a first print run special edition that looks absolutely stunning. And yeah, I really want to read something by this author too. A lot of people who read this book, the beta readers and the ARC readers, said that this is one of her top books that she wrote this far. So I'm excited to read this one. This review says, I can't stop thinking about these characters and this new world. I'm obsessed beyond words. This book is brilliant. It is dark, intense, and unputdownable. I really want to read this. This is going to release on November 4th. And the next book is one of my favorite authors who wrote The Crimson Moth, Kristen Ciccarelli. I think this is not a new release. This is a re-release in a new paperback and a new hardback. I don't know if it's a new cover. This book originally released in March 2022. But maybe they are re-releasing with a new cover. I think because she got even more successful with the Crimson Moth duology, so that they are now re-releasing this book. I think it's a standalone. Here it says, Cicarelli weaves the epic love story of a magical girl, the boy she left behind, and a deadly curse. Now in paperback. So it is a re-release. We have a special edition of the paperback that is releasing in November 4th, but the Waterstones exclusive edition that I already pre-ordered, I have it open here so I can tell you about the release date of the hardback. It is going to release on February 12th. This is about a singer. Her name is Emmeline Lark. She's chasing her dream to become a famous singer and songwriter, and she left her small town behind, moving to the city. But as she performs, she never forgot the forest surrounding, like the vibe and the forest that is surrounding her hometown, I think lives in her mind. It is called Edgewood, and moss and other flora have even been known to sprout from the stage at her feet. Now, I don't know if this is a hallucination or if it's true. And she receives news from a friend that her beloved grandfather has disappeared. So she travels back to her hometown and she finds herself following the only lead, a mysterious orb left on her grandfather's pillow, said to be evidence of a tithe paid to the Wood King. And she ventures into the woods and a fairy tale is born. So I think it is a fairy tale, but set in this world. People said if you love like atmospheric settings, a forest setting, an enchanted forest, a dark fairy tale vibe, you will enjoy this one. And here also I found out about this book. It used to be called Edgewood. This person said it is one of my all-time favorites, and dare I say I love it even more than Heartless Hunter, the Crimson Moth series. So they are changing the title and revamping the cover. The cover is absolutely stunning, to be honest. This is going to release on November 4th. And that was it for me today, book besties. If you've made it this far, leave me the skull emoji. And if you enjoyed the video, subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. I would love to have you. Also, let me know if you are interested in one of the books that I mentioned in this video. And I will see you in the next one. Bye!